1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. He's Hacker.
I'm a sausage guy.
Yeah, that butcher shop with the juicy breasts. I like that.
And he doesn't shy away from opinion.
I have always liked Florida State.
And now I do realize why people don't like Florida Gator fans. So if you're going to blow it out, just blow it out. But Shad Khan, the owner, didn't see it that way.
Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
And a very good Tuesday evening to you, Jacksonville, our late night show. Are you kidding me? Ladies and gentlemen of Jacksonville, Florida, let me ask you a question. Where would you rather be right now at 10:02 Eastern Standard Time than listening to Dylan Denmark and yours truly on Hacker After Dark? And we do appreciate you staying up late with us. Our Tuesday night show, as always, gives you a little bit of everything when it comes to the world of football. Some high school football in the 11 o'clock hour with the high school spotlight. Some NFL football, Jamal St. Cyr of Channel 4 to talk Jaguars, Bills, Jaguars, Colts. That's coming up in less than 20 minutes. And my friend Brent Beard, you see him on First Coast News. You get him weekly right here on Hacker After Dark, as it's mid-season report card time for Florida, Florida State, Georgia, and Miami. And that's actually where we're going to begin tonight, because every night on Hacker After Dark, we do give you a big deal of the night. And Dylan Denmark, let's do that right now.
Time now for the big deal of the night.
What's the big deal?
What is the big deal?
No big deal.
It is a big deal.
On Hacker After Dark.
We have reached the middle portion of October. And in the world of college football, that means for most teams, you start assessing the first half of your year and what lies ahead in the second half. So I thought we would take that opportunity to do that this evening here when it comes to the schools that we cover. Number one being the Florida Gators. Florida at 4-2 on the year. Undefeated at home, right? 4-0. They just can't find a way to win on the road. And even though they're 4-2, and even though they had bad losses to Utah and certainly a bad loss to Kentucky, the vibe I get from Gator Nation, unhappiness, yes, but not all that surprised. I think many of you would have taken 4-2 through 6 games, knowing you had Utah, Tennessee, and Kentucky. If I told you 4-2 in your first 6, with the lack of expectation coming into the year, I think, Gator fan, you would have taken that. Obviously, they got that huge win over Tennessee, did what they needed to do against McNeese State and Charlotte and Vanderbilt. Now they got to take that next step, right? And that next step is winning a game away from Gainesville. How about the stat Connor O'Gara gave us last night from Saturday Down South? I could not believe this. Florida on the road. If you take out the 2020 COVID year, where stadiums were not full, and you talk about teams that ultimately went to bowl games that year, all right? So take out games they played in non-full stadiums, 2020, and take out games they played against awful teams. The last road game, Florida won in a full stadium against a team that ultimately went to a bowl game that same year, was Kentucky of 2019. That's awful. Awful. They won a couple of games on the road in 2020. Again, non-full stadiums. They beat Texas A&M last year, right? But A&M did not go to a bowl game. So your last win on the road in a full stadium against a team that went to a bowl game that same year was Kentucky of 2019. That needs to change. That needs to change in a hurry. And you have the opportunity to change that on Saturday when you travel to Williams-Brice Stadium to take on the South Carolina Gamecocks. Denmark, the coldest game I've ever been to in my life was at Williams-Brice Stadium.
Really?
I don't think the world was granted with your presence yet This was back in November of 1995.
Yeah, I wasn't born yet.
Yeah, I had just turned 12, and one of my birthday presents was a road game to go see Florida and South Carolina. Florida obliterated South Carolina. It was 63-7. South Carolina had a quarterback, a lot of longtime Gator fans will remember, by the name of Steve Tannehill, kind of a cult figure in Carolina, long ponytail, blonde hair. Carolina fans loved him. But we sat on the top row of Williams-Brice Stadium, and there was like a nor'easter that hit. It was right before Thanksgiving. And without a shadow of a doubt, it is the coldest game I've ever been to. They were serving hot chocolate by the gallons in the upper deck of Williams-Brice Stadium. And then, of course, you go through the history of Florida, South Carolina, a lot of crazy games. Jarvis Moss in the field goal block in 2008. You obviously had Will Muschamp getting fired after losing to South Carolina. What was that, 2012, I guess? Another chapter will be written on Saturday. Florida State, look, all's right with the world with Florida State. 5-0, ranked in the top 5 in America. Huge games already in the rearview mirror, wins over LSU and Clemson. They looked a little clunky last week against Virginia Tech, ultimately won the game, although it was 22-17 there in the third quarter. But you look at the Florida State schedule, it's just not very daunting, right? I mean, Duke, but Riley Leonard, the quarterback, probably is not going to play. They go to Pitt. Okay. Maybe the weather's bad. The field could be tore up there at Pitt. Maybe that could be clunky. Wake Forest is not normal Wake Forest. They'll kill them. Miami? I don't know. Where is Miami mentally after what happened last week against Georgia Tech? And then ultimately ending at Florida. The game against Florida in Gainesville might be Florida State's toughest game remaining, just for the simple fact that it's in Gainesville. And Florida has proven that they're very good at home and they're very bad on the road. Georgia, they looked like Georgia last week, right? Dominating performance against Kentucky. Looked absolutely terrific. It was the best game they've played all year. The Dogs look like they're going to steamroll their way to that Tennessee game. Honorable mention to the Gators here at the cocktail party, but I think Georgia will win that. But that game in Knoxville is one that you just kind of circle. We'll see what happens. Could that potentially be for an SEC East title? I doubt it, because Tennessee already has the loss to Florida, which means they would have to run the table prior to playing Georgia, and I don't think Tennessee is going to beat Alabama a week from Saturday. And then the Hurricanes, after what happened against Georgia Tech, like I said, who knows, man? They're 4-1. They should be 5-0. One of the biggest coaching blunders that I've ever seen in the college football that I've watched over the last 35 years. And they have a gauntlet starting with them coming up against North Carolina and Clemson. So this season could get away from Miami very quickly. And it was all very, very, very avoidable. All you had to do was take a knee. Mario Cristobal and the coaching staff chose not to. They lose in remarkable fashion, and now they go North Carolina and Clemson in the next 2 weeks. Miami could be 4-3 and outside the top 25 very quickly. Very, very quickly. So it's mid-season, right? You have hope. You have promise. I'll tell you this. Florida State and Georgia right now, I would think if you're going to list teams that have the easiest path to the 4-team playoff, Florida State would have to be on that list. Again, I don't see much resistance on the Seminoles' schedule. They're going to be favorites in every game they play from here on out. The ACC's got a fascinating scenario, though, that could potentially happen. No more divisions. North Carolina, Louisville, and Florida State are all currently undefeated, and none of them play each other. You're not going to have 12-0 Florida State, 12-0 Louisville, and 12-0 North Carolina, are you? Where one of those teams would be left out of the ACC championship game, which would be unbelievable if that happens. Again, the chances of that happening, I think, are slim, but we're in the middle part of October, and all three of those teams are still unbeaten. So we'll see. And as I mentioned, Georgia, I think there's very little resistance for them until at least Knoxville. And even if they lose that game at Tennessee, if they win the SEC title, they'll still probably find their way in. But it's great. It's getting heavy. We're going to start figuring some things out in the Pac-12. Oregon and Washington, a battle of unbeatens. We're not far away from figuring some things out in the Big Ten when it comes to Penn State, Michigan, and Ohio State. We're going to start figuring some things out very quickly in the world of college football, and I absolutely cannot wait. As it comes to the National Football League, the Jaguars back in Jacksonville. I'll be down in the locker room tomorrow as the Jaguars get ready for what is a big game. You know, you look on the schedule when it came out, 10 days in London, a home game against the Colts, followed by a Thursday nighter in the Dome against New Orleans. And you thought, all right, maybe there's concern the Colts game could be a trap game or a lull or whatever you want to call it. Well, not now. It's a game for first place in the AFC South and your old friend Gardner Minshew. And the Minshew Mania is coming to town. All of a sudden, Colts-Jaguars is a pretty big game. Let's talk about it with Jamal St. Cyr, my friend from Channel 4. He's always kind enough to give us some time here on Hacker After Dark. It is a Tuesday night here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM with Dylan Denmark, the Hacker Ryan Green with you. We're going to talk college football in a half an hour. We're going to talk high school football in the 11 o'clock hour. Right now, let's kick it off with Jaguar football. Jamal St. Cyr of Channel 4 next on Hacker After Dark.
Great tires are an important part of a good drive.
That's a great drive right there.
And Tire Outlet brings you the drive of the game.
We don't make mistakes, and I don't stop us.
On 1010XL. Tire Outlet. Wholesale prices, premium service.
Are you drowning in credit card debt? Want to get cash out of your home's equity? Loan Pronto can now do it in less than a week. Hey, it's Prosser here, and that's right. Loan Pronto's Equity Express line of credit just got even faster. You can get $50,000, $100,000, or even $200,000 in as little as 5 days. And you don't even have to touch your primary mortgage, so you can keep that 3% rate intact. Just get the money you need and pay off all those credit cards or get that home improvement project started. With this revolutionary program, you can access up to 90% of your home's value, and in most cases, there's no appraisal. Stop paying insane interest rates to the credit card companies and get tens or even hundreds of thousands in cash in as little as 5 days. Call Loan Pronto now for the even faster Equity Express line. 904-999-1508. LoanPronto.com or 904-999-1508. That's 904-999-1508. Equal housing lender, NMLS 16617881, subject to lender approval.
Hey, Matt Hayes here. Expert Automotive is now open at our brand new state-of-the-art facility on St. John's Bluff Road. As always, every repair comes with a lifetime service repair warranty. Come celebrate our grand reopening by getting a free AC inspection, $50 off any repair, $199 brake specials, and free diagnostics all month long. Call 374-3373 or visit us at our new location at 2190 St. John's Bluff Road. Expert Automotive. We never sell greed, only what you need.
Hey Jacksonville, I'm sure by now you've seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We are an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We are committed to customer service, reliability, and have unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today. GFL, green for life.
Do you love sports? Do you also love wings? Enjoy the best wings in Jacksonville in Miramar, Mandarin, and Oakleaf at Players Grill. Watch your favorite teams and enjoy burgers, pizza, salads, and of course, wings. Players Grill, where the neighborhood meets.
Put a little fire in your college football pregame.
I'm National College Football writer Matt Hayes, and I'll bring you stories about players, coaches, and programs.
The Bueller Air Conditioning Saturday Kickoff.
Get you ready for Football Saturday.
On 1010XL.
Brought to you by Sonny's Barbecue.
Here's your 1010XL First Coast Community Calendar.
To play golf and pickleball while helping local charities at the Mormons Miracle Foundation Tournaments, Auction, and VIP Party October 20th, call 783-1878.
To learn more about the Jericho School Golf Tournament and silent auction at Blue Sky Golf Club October 21st, visit thejerichoschool.org.
Make a difference on the golf course, playing one of the best tournaments and help make Jacksonville a safer place to live and raise our families. The First Coast Crime Stoppers Golf Tournament is October 23rd at Amelia River Club. Call 398-5883.
The Knights of Columbus 5535 Annual Golf Tournament is November 6th at Glen Kernan Country Club. To find out how to play or sponsor, call 249-5535.
To walk in the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society Light the Night Walk on November 16th at UNF. Register at lightthe.night.org.
If you're involved in a community event and you'd like us to help spread the word, find out how at 1010XL.com.
There's no better time to be a Jags fan, especially when you're a My Gate Rewards member. Gate is giving you the chance to meet the man, Trevor Lawrence. You and 3 of your friends can meet Trevor Lawrence in person at the stadium. Entering is easy. With the My Gate Rewards Gatorade Club, for every 5 Gatorade products you purchase, you'll be entered for a chance to win. See store for details. Gate, your hometown convenience store.
Hey sports fans, it's Hayes Carline for QC Kinetics. The future of joint pain relief is here. It's QC Kinetics, advanced regenerative medicine. This is amazing stuff. If you've been told more steroids or surgery are your only options, don't be so fast. Get a second opinion and learn more about how you can harness your body's own healing agents to attack that joint pain. You've got to go see QC Kinetics. You can call to set up a free consultation at Mandarin or Ponte Vedra locations at 904-274-5522. Again, 274-5522. Imagine living your life this fall with no more pain in your knees, your hips, shoulders, back, with no drugs, no downtime, and no surgery. Look, life is about motion, and QC Kinetics is giving people their lives back with these all-natural treatments. Again, give them a call. 904-274-5522. That's QC Kinetics.
I'm Shane with Renew Solutions, an expert in transforming your hardwood floors to a timeless and elegant new look. For any wood floor repairs, replace, or installs, I've got you covered at Renew Solutions. Visit renewjacksfloors.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jaguars, protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Let's ring up another guest on the All-Pro Roofing phone line.
Back here on 1010XL at 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville, we are glad you are with us. The Jaguars and the Colts, Sunday at 1 o'clock back here in Jacksonville, and it is for first place in the AFC South. What a couple of weeks it was over in London for the Jaguars. With that, let me welcome in my friend Jamal St. Cyr of Channel 4. He's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Jamal, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
Jamal, we're good, man. A lot better now than we were when the Jaguars departed for London about a week and a half ago. All right, the victory over Atlanta was nice, but man alive, Jamal, the win on Sunday over Buffalo, that was nothing short of outstanding. Your thoughts on the Jaguars' performance?
Look, that was the game that they needed to have. I started floating around the idea. I was like, if they lose this game, I don't know if the AFC South isn't starting to get to a point where it's going to be tougher and tougher, because that schedule ahead has some tough games, while teams like the Texans have a pretty cushy gig the rest of the way. So that was definitely a big win. The AFC South definitely going to be a little bit more competitive than maybe some of us gave it credit for going into the season. Jaguars needed it. They gutted it out. They did what they had to do. The defense kind of carried the team. The offense got the job done, especially late. Huge game from Travis Etienne. Huge game from Trevor Lawrence. And a huge game from Calvin Ridley. The guys are showing up. The pieces are starting to come together We kind of talked one time a couple of weeks ago, and everybody was kind of like, just don't press the panic button just yet. Eventually, the pieces will start clicking, and you're starting to see more and more flashes that when this thing comes together, it's going to be a beautiful picture with some bright future ahead.
Jamal, it was interesting for me. I don't know if you thought this, but in the NFL, we're used to seeing heavyweight fights, right? Two really good teams going at it. We're just not used to seeing Jacksonville in one of those games. And there have been times over the last 3 or 4 years where it didn't look like Jacksonville played in the same league as some of these teams like Buffalo and Kansas City and go on down the line. And yet yesterday, here the Jaguars are, right in the thick of it, right in the battle with Buffalo, just going haymaker for haymaker. And it was so enjoyable to see the Jaguars finally in a game like that.
Yeah, look, I mean, that's just a testament to how far this team has come. I mean, when you talk about the expectations for the Jaguars this season, they have been through the roof, and some of them are, high as they've ever been for this franchise, maybe them trying to do things that they haven't done or compete in ways they haven't competed in a long time. Part of that is getting to that level where they can compete in those heavyweight fights, like you called it. I mean, look, this is a team with a ton of talent. I mean, the defense is playing better than I think most people expected they would. The offense maybe hasn't quite gotten there yet. But if this team is going to get to where they want to get to, they have to be prepared to go into those heavyweight fights. They have to be ready. I mean, we talked about it kind of around the Kansas City game that it could, the Jaguars and Chiefs could play again later on in the playoffs. The Jaguars and Bills could 100% play again in the playoffs. I mean, the Bills are considered one of those elite teams in the AFC. If the Jaguars want to have any hope of making a run through the postseason, more than likely, they're going to have to see Buffalo again.
Jamal St. Cyr of Channel 4 here with us on 1010XL in Jacksonville. Jamal, the Jaguars, I mean, let's be honest. They beat the crap out of the Buffalo Bills defense, all right? They ran like 90 plays. The Bills were dead in the fourth quarter. I mean, they literally just could not stop ETN. They had been on the field for, 38, 39 minutes at that point. Even though the turnovers were awful, and obviously we'll get to that, and that kept Buffalo in the game. But when I went back and watched it, I mean, they demolished the Buffalo Bills defense for a large portion of that game in London.
Look, I don't hear anybody complaining about the play calling today. Ultimately, the Jaguars' third down offense was so improved. Trevor Lawrence throwing the ball, he was 9 of 10 on third and fourth downs. They stuck with the running game in the first half. Travis Etienne was averaging something like 2 yards a carry at halftime. In the second half, all of a sudden, those big runs started popping, and next thing you know, the running game's working. Travis Etienne's icing the game with a touchdown. Some of it is a feeling out process. Did Cam Robinson maybe make a little bit of a difference on the offensive line? Sure. Does the way the Bills play defense kind of play into what Trevor Lawrence likes? He likes a defense that's going to send pressure at him, send different blitz looks. He can adjust and know what he's getting ready to do. That plays into his hand. So things definitely went the Jaguars' way. The offense is starting to click a little bit. It took a little bit of time, but Press Taylor's kind of finding his groove as a play caller. Look, play calling's an art. There's an art to it. There's a rhythm to it. And Press Taylor as a play caller, this is his first time in his career calling plays for a full game. It takes a little bit of time for him to get into the groove, especially when the offensive line wasn't playing well. Receivers were dropping passes. There were a few misses here or there. So it was tough. And now maybe we're finally getting to that point where you're starting to get closer to the middle of the season and you're seeing the offense starting to get into that groove of where they want to be. And they're still not at that peak yet. So there's still plenty of room for improvement, but they're getting closer to maybe what everybody expected and what they expect from themselves in an offense. So, yeah, I think that's just what you're starting to see.
One of the nice things, Jamal, to me as well, is in the past, penalties that killed drives or turnovers, in deep in opponent's territory, that would end this team. I mean, they would not recover from that. And against the Buffalo Bills, I mean, Anton Harrison's going to have very good days in a Jaguar uniform, but he had 2 penalties yesterday that flat out killed drives, right? He had another situation with the turnovers that Trevor fumbled twice inside the Bills' 30. I mean, in the past, this team would not recover from that, yet they recovered from all of that yesterday.
Look, the Jaguars' defense is playing lights out. I don't think we can give them enough credit. Look, we people question Mike Caldwell. People question his defensive personnel. I've said it once, I'll say it again. And until the offense clicks and their lights out, right now the Jaguars are a defensive football team. That defense flat out shut down one of the most high-powered offenses in the NFL. They shut them down. I mean, outside of some late touchdowns from Josh Allen, that late touchdown, I mean, it was flat out dominant. And that is the defense that carried them. That's why they were able to make up for those things, those punts. The Jaguars offense was doing just enough to make sure that they were flipping the field, and the defense was like, no problem, we got you. And flat out gave Josh Allen fits all day long. The Bills did not get anything going on offense. And that's just a testament to what, I guess, Mike Caldwell's vision for this defense has been. And we kept saying, they need pass rush. They didn't get a sack, and it wasn't a problem for me on Sunday.
Yeah, you're right about that. And look, one of the big questions, Jamal, and you and I talked about it some this offseason during training camp, was the secondary, right? We figured Tyson Campbell was going to be pretty good, but there were questions about almost everybody else back there. Andre Sisco is one of the best safeties in football if you look at stats right now. Darius Williams in London played phenomenal. The pick six against Atlanta, and he saved a touchdown yesterday with that pick, beating Stephon Diggs for that ball. Rayshon Jenkins, I thought maybe had his best game of the year against Buffalo. I mean, that secondary's doing some things.
There were a few mistakes along the way for the secondary, for sure. I mean, those were a couple of blown assignments. Josh Allen helped them out with a couple of bad passes along the way. But the defense as a whole is just playing lights out. The secondary has definitely been the backbone of that defense. Tyson Campbell, he gave up two touchdowns, but you know what? You got to have that short memory. Darius Williams, look, you come up with interceptions like that across the pond in London, he's going to be a guy who's real comfy in that secondary doing his thing. Andre Sisco, look, I've been a fan of Andre Sisco since they drafted him, and we were all trying to figure out why this rookie couldn't get on the field. He has it. You know, he'll hit, he'll go get the football. He is a game changer at that safety position. The Jaguars have that guy. He's a guy that they need to find a way to make sure he stays in Jacksonville for a long time, because I still think the sky's the limit for this dude. I mean, as big as he is, as fast as he is, as smart as he is, he's going to keep getting better. He hasn't made it to a Pro Bowl yet, but that is in the near future.
Couple of more for Jamal St. Cyr of Channel 4 as the Jaguars get ready for the Indianapolis Colts on Sunday. Jamal, we'll get to that game in a moment. Certainly an interesting subplot to that game on Sunday we'll get to in a moment as well. Final thought about Buffalo. They were 1-2. The Texans came in here and beat them by 20 in Week 3, and we're thinking, oh, my gosh, what is going on? And then they go over there and they beat Atlanta, and they dominate Atlanta, quite frankly. And then they beat one of the best teams in the NFL in the Buffalo Bills. And now they come back to Jacksonville, and they're 0-2 at home. I mean, they're 3-0 outside of Jacksonville. They're 0-2 at Everbank Stadium this year, which is odd. When they come back and we start the regular week and we're in the locker room on Wednesday, what do you think the vibe, if you will be from the players? I would expect it to be drastically different than what we saw before the London trip.
It'll certainly be interesting to see. Look, this is the week that's worried me since before the season started, and people were pointing fingers at me, calling me crazy because I said this was like trap game week perfect. You spend 10 days over there in London, and look, that gave them an advantage because they were adjusted to the time, they were adjusted to everything, they were ready to go. That was business as usual for them. Their bodies got adjusted. Well, now they turned around, they got back to Jacksonville, and they have to immediately get back to work for a game on Sunday. And that's going to be tough because, like, think about it. Like, if you go on a vacation and even if you go on a vacation to London, if you spend 10 days there, you start to get adjusted to the time change. And then you want to come back. And a lot of people like to take a day or two off to get readjusted before they go back to work. Well, they have to go immediately back to work, and they don't just have a normal job. Their job literally is their body. Their body is their business. So that little bit of tired where, oh, you can sit at your desk, or, oh, I can sit here and talk to you and be a little tired but make it work. That's not the same thing as going out there and trying to dodge 300-pound guys or make a move on a corner when you're fatigued or tired. That delayed reaction time makes a difference in the NFL. That lack of intensity makes a difference on the practice field. So this week is definitely going to be an interesting one. I'll be keeping an eye on, what that intensity is like, because that jet lag the other way can definitely play a factor this week.
And it's a big game. Look, the Indianapolis Colts are 3-2. The Jaguars are 3-2. The winner of this game on Sunday will have first place by themselves in the AFC South. And by the way, at the time you and I are talking, it appears that Gardner Minshew will be the starting quarterback as he returns to Jacksonville for a first-place game against the Jaguars. So there's a lot of stuff floating around this game on Sunday here against Indianapolis.
Hey, bring Minshew Mania on back to the bank. Look, I was looking it up the other day. It's almost 3 years to the day the last time, or it will be almost 3 years to the day the last time that he started a regular season game at the bank in Jacksonville. Because I think the last one was like October 18th of 2020. Just interesting. It was such a fun time when he was here, and things were kind of wild with the whole Minshew Mania stuff. As a person, great personality, great guy. He's on the other sideline this go around. I think it'll be interesting to see how many Jags fans show up in Minshew stuff, because I think he still is, well liked enough from a lot of people around. But that does give the Jaguars a big leg up. Like, Gardner Minshew isn't the same threat that Anthony Richardson is. When Richardson's played this season, he's been fantastic. I mean, I think he's been better than what people maybe gave him credit for or even expected. But the problem so far has been that he can't stay healthy. Like, you don't wish injuries on anybody, but he has been banged up. He got banged up against the Jaguars late in the game. Then he came back for them the next week, got hurt that week, missed a game, came back last week, got hurt. Look, he has to find a way to stay on the field. He has been fantastic. The Jaguars not having to play against him is a huge lift, because Gardner Minshew is a drastically different player, which should simplify some things. You don't have to worry about Minshew taking off and running past everybody for 50 yards,
Final moments with Jamal St. Cyr of Channel 4. You make a good point, although in Gardner's defense, I agree, he's not Anthony Richardson yet. Gardner took them into Baltimore, and the Colts beat the Ravens, which is a huge win for them. And Jamal, I didn't see the entire game yesterday, but watching some of the highlights, Tennessee, say what you will about the Titans, they normally don't get pushed around on the line of scrimmage. Indianapolis pushed them around on the line of scrimmage, and now you reincorporate Jonathan Taylor a full week back. I agree with you, man. This is a scary game for Jacksonville. The one thing that we'll obviously talk about, too, it's been forever since the Colts won a game here. I think you have to go back like almost 10 years, like 2014. I think it's the last time Indianapolis won a game here. So there's certainly a lot of motivation on their sideline to end that streak in a game, like we said, is for first place in the division on Sunday.
Yep, Gus Bradley was the Jaguars head coach the last time the Colts won a game here in Jacksonville, and he's going to be the Colts defensive coordinator on Sunday. Look, I know that streak has stood for a long time, but all streaks end up coming to an end. With Gardner Minshew at the helm, look, I've said it before. I think Gardner Minshew is the main character. All the rest of us are just role players here. So it wouldn't surprise me if he came back to Jacksonville and got the revenge game like one bit. The second they traded him, after the preseason with Urban Meyer and all that, I said, he's going to come back here and beat this team one day. And I certainly hope it's not this week. I don't think it will be, but he has not played bad when he's gotten the opportunity. And I'm sure if you've ever listened to his interviews when he talks about stuff, look, revenge is on his mind if he gets the chance to come in, and he's going to be looking for it on Sunday.
It's going to be fun, man. There's no question about it. 3-2 Jacksonville, 3-2 Indianapolis. Jamal, give yourself and Teal the show a little love. Monday nights, Channel 4, you along with Frank Frangie.
Yeah, Frank and I sit down every Monday and Friday night on Channel 4 at 11:20. We talk everything you want to hear about the Jaguars. You should come hang out with us. It's always fun.
Jamal St. Cyr of Channel 4. Jamal, I know you're busy. I appreciate it. I'll see you down in the Jaguar locker room on Wednesday afternoon.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you, Hacker.
There you go. Jamal St. Cyr of Channel 4. Always enjoy the conversation with Jamal. Jaguar locker room open tomorrow. I'll be down there. Interested in the vibe, right? The last time we were there, they were 1-2 coming off that 20-point loss to Houston. Certainly a lot has changed in 2 weeks. A win over Atlanta, a win over Buffalo, and now a first-place game on the line in the division on Sunday. Jaguars and Colts. And speaking of that, Gardner Minshew will be the starting quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts. Might have a surprise guest tomorrow night on Hacker After Dark. Working on a little something. We'll call it a blast from the past when you talk about Gardner Minshew, and guy that we used to have on a lot here on 1010XL that's very familiar with Gardner. So hopefully that'll come to fruition tomorrow evening. Coming to fruition next, let's shift gears to the world of college football. My friend Brent Beard, you see him on First Coast News here locally. You also hear him on Hacker After Dark. Let's talk Florida, Florida State, Georgia, Miami, and more. A little mid-season report card here in the middle of October with Brent Beard next. Tuesday night, Hacker After Dark. Thank you for joining us. It's 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Digest the weekend's games with 1010XL's football experts.
That is a meal.
Sink your teeth into Dandy Foods Postgame Monday. Makers of quality fresh sandwiches and home of the good stuff. Postgame Monday on 1010XL.
Are you searching for your next great ride? Then I've got great news for you. Arlington Toyota Pre-Owned has just announced an unbeatable inventory of over 500 used vehicles all in one place. I'm talking cars under $18K, over 200 SUVs, and more than 100 pickup trucks. Even better, right now, get no payments until January 2024. Arlington Toyota Pre-Owned, 10939 Atlantic Boulevard, or online at arlingtontoyota.com.
Visit arlingtontoyota.com/offer for full details.
Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute is the sports medicine leader in Northeast Florida. We're proud to be the official sports medicine provider for your hometown teams, including the Jaguars, Sharks, Axemen, Armada, and the Jumbo Shrimp. We have the most cutting-edge resources for sports medicine care, including active armor casting, Alter-G anti-gravity treadmills, and highly trained physicians and athletic trainers. JOI is truly where the pros go, and so should you.
Get Gators play-by-play on 1010XL. Brought to you by Farah and Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. And Renewal by Anderson, the official window and door replacement partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Hi, I'm Dr. Mitchell Yass, and I am no longer the most unknown world-renowned pain elimination specialist, thanks to you and my 1010XL radio show, The Pain-Free Living Hour. You can re-listen to all 14 episodes on my YouTube channel, Dr. Mitchell Yass, and have your pain eliminated with treatment in my office or online over Zoom. Book your appointment today, 904-906-YASS, or at livewithoutpains.com.
This Date in Sports History is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On October 10th in the 1956 World Series, behind Yogi Berra's 2 home runs, New York Yankees beat Brooklyn Dodgers 9-0 in Game 7.
Liberty Landscape Supply invites you to the grand opening of their new location in St. Johns County. North Florida's best landscape supplier has planned a day of family fun and exciting giveaways, including plants, trees, gift cards, a new fire pit, even hockey tickets. Plus, any great celebration includes food and beverages, cornhole, bounce house, and more. Plan to visit Liberty Landscape Supply at World Golf Village this Friday and Saturday. Order online at libertylandscapesupply.com.
Man, I'm excited for RV City at Florida, Georgia.
But RV Heaven is just down the road, Island Oaks RV Resort.
That's off exit 333, right? Past McClenny?
Yep.
Will my kids like it?
They'll love it. Tons of fall events are coming, like Hocus Pocus Night and Spooky Island Halloween, plus live music and karaoke. You can stay in a cabin right on the premises. It's way cheaper and better than a hotel.
Where can I book our stay?
Visit islandoaksrvresort.com. That's islandoaksrvresort.com.
Want to be up close and personal with the Jaguars as they take the field? Here's your chance to be in the shadows, outside the Jaguars locker room, now called the Vault. Enter today at jaguars.com/shadows. One winner a guest for every home game at Everbank Stadium. No purchase to enter or win, must be 18 or older and a legal resident of Florida or Georgia. Promotion period 9/5/23 through 12/15/23. For official rules and complete details, visit jaguars.com. Sponsored by Jacksonville Jaguars, LLC.
Hey, bourbon lovers, Tim Pierson here, founder of Chattanooga Whiskey, the only Tennessee high malt. Did you know that Chattanooga Whiskey was awarded Craft Producer of the Year by Whiskey Magazine? It's true. We spent years perfecting our uniquely crafted, award-winning style of bourbon we call Tennessee high malt, with notes of butterscotch, toasted honey, and chocolate-covered cherries. And since the fall is finally here, so is bourbon season. Celebrate with a bourbon that is truly the world's best in craft. Drink Chattanooga whiskey, enjoy responsibly.
Looking for quality equipment and a name you can trust? Lepo Rents, Bobcat of Jacksonville is your premier construction equipment dealer and rental house. We have the right equipment for the job, offering the big and small tools needed for your next project. Lepo sells and rents track loaders, excavators, boom lifts, and much more. For your next project, remember Lepo Rents, your authorized Bobcat dealer in Jacksonville. Visit them online at leporents.com. Atlantic Self Storage, the official storage partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Need to make room to watch football in your home or need a place to park your boat or RV? Store it all at Atlantic Self Storage. Over 50 locations in Northeast Florida. 24-hour access, all with month-to-month leases. Moving? They can help with supplies. They make storage easy. Go to AtlanticSelfStorage.com or call 877-WE-STORE to find a storage solution near you. Go Jags!
Discover the difference that local expertise makes at First Coast Lighting and Fans. Visit their showroom at the Avenues and browse high-quality products to match your desire for elegance, quality, and uniqueness at First Coast Lighting and Fans.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jaguars, protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555, Jacksonville. Let's ring up another guest on the All-Pro Roofing phone line.
Back here on 1010XL at 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville, we are glad you are with us. The middle portion of October has arrived, and we're at the mid-season point, right? The mid-season exactly for Florida and Georgia, and after Saturday, we'll be at the mid-season point for Florida State and Miami. Let's talk about all four with my friend Brent Beard. You see him locally on First Coast News. You also get him weekly right here on Hacker After Dark. Mr. Beard, how are you, sir?
Well, I'm still just enjoying the season. I really don't want to deal with the middle part yet because it bring up too much grief things for me, Hank. But and for guys like me who do this 365 and 12 months a year, it's always fun. There's football all week long at night. That's one of the fun things about October with baseball and all else that's going on at this point. But yeah, and a lot of things going on with the schools that we follow.
Brent, you and I have chatted on the radio, I believe, at 3 different radio stations over a 20-year period, and you've covered college football a lot longer than that even. Saturday night in Coral Gables, Mario Cristobal, the ending of that game. Have you, Brent Beard, ever seen anything like that?
Really very seldom do you have a situation that happens with that. Now, there are a bunch of things in here, and I'll be brief on them. Is number one, between Shannon Dawson, the offense coordinator, and Mario Cristobal, they're all kind of trying to fall on the sword for each other during this time. But it would, and I would be curious in a transparent moment what really they were trying to get done. Now I know Don Chaney the running back had like 99 yards. And I wonder if they were trying to get him another yard to get him on 100. But I mean, it's just one of those things to where that's simple to do. But the other reality of it is, boy, the defense didn't help either, did the Hack? I mean, allowing Christian Leary, who's an Alabama transfer, to get behind them for a 44-yard pass was rough. But here's a reality for Cristobal that people will eventually come to understand. He did this at Oregon, and he's now doing it at Miami. Now, look, he's a pretty decent football coach. Overall, Cristobal right now is 71-68 as a head coach, and that basically is kind of where he is. He is a better recruiter than he is a football coach, and hopefully he'll grow into the position. Miami is better. I give them credit for that. But here's your reality for Miami. He is going to have a game or two every year that is just inexplicable, like the Middle Tennessee game. You remember that one last year, Hank, where they had to bench Tyler Van Dyke? And you've got the same thing that's going on. And what's really tough about this is they're heading into now the toughest part of their schedule, North Carolina, Clemson, and Florida State. So the challenge for them is how do you get over this quickly and get into that trio of games that you really need to win, at least 2 out of 3?
I mean, yeah, you're right. It's coaching malpractice what happened Saturday night. I mean, they take a knee, they're walking into midfield and shaking hands 10 seconds later.
Right.
And for them to do what they did, Brent, that's junior varsity. I mean, that's middle school stuff, man.
Sure it is.
I mean, it's peewee football stuff. You're paying this guy millions of dollars a year, and then for him to go in the post-game press conference and talk about we needed to recalibrate the time. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
There were 30 seconds to go. The play clock is 40 seconds. Georgia Tech didn't have a timeout. I mean, it's maddening. I just can't. That's the shoe game, right? That's Marco Wilson throwing a shoe at Florida.
Yes.
They will be talking about this Miami blunder for years. I think like Paul Feinbaum, I want to say, said it was the biggest college football coaching blunder he's ever seen. I'd have to think long and hard if for a worse one. And I knew we need to move on because I want to get to the Gators. But, you're right. They go to North Carolina this week, and that probably will not work out well for them. All right, they are 4-1, so all is not lost. Florida is 4-2, Brent, midway through the year. They got a tough one at South Carolina on Saturday. They just need to find a way to win a game away from Gainesville. How about this stat? Connor O'Gara gave me this earlier in the week. Florida's last road win in a full stadium, so the non-COVID year, their last full win in a full stadium against a team that ultimately went to a bowl game that year was 2019 against Kentucky. Yeah. That's how far back you have to go that Florida in a full stadium on the road beat somebody that was worth a darn.
Well, they're 0-2 on the road this season with losses by an average of 16 points. And they're 1-7 on the road under Napier, period. So that's something that's got to get better. Now, this is a winnable game with South Carolina. South Carolina is pretty much about as average as you can get to. Now, I know Spencer Rattler has had his moments this year, but South Carolina is a team that's really strong. Antoine Wells, one of their better receivers, was hurt a few weeks ago, and he's out for a while. I mean, they did beat Vandy. It wasn't anything fancy, and they kind of are who they are. Still, they did hold Vandy 1 out of 10 on third down. I think they'll probably fix their defense if they can before they fix their offense. I mean, we know pretty well at this point, don't we, Hank, that Graham Mertz is not very accurate outside of 20 or 25 yards. Now, Arliss Boardingham stood out, 7 catches for 99 yards. Montrell Johnson had a good game, and they ran the ball well, and that's still their strength, and ETN is still their main guy with this. And again, you and I have talked the whole off season, during the season, that they have got easily 3 or 4 what we call 50-50 games that could go either way, and this is just another one, isn't it?
No, it definitely is. Again, we're here with Brent Beard. You see him on First Coast News. You also get him locally right here on Hacker After Dark. Brent, I'm at the point where I'm just not going to pick them to win a road game until they do, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
sure.
they've earned that in a negative sense almost.
Right.
That until they actually win a game on the road, it's hard to pick them to win on the road.
Yeah, well, and I understand that very much. And the reality is they need some momentum going into the Georgia game. Now, they're not going to beat Georgia, but you know, certainly they will be competitive, I believe. And they have got a couple of more games at this point at 4-2. They've got, if they can't beat Arkansas, South Carolina, they've still got Arkansas and the possibility of Missouri. Then they've got LSU and Florida State. That's not going to be easy. But again, heck, don't Gator fans at least want to see some consistent improvement in both sides of the ball as you go into November?
There's no question. You want to see two things, in my opinion. Number one, you're right, consistent improvement, particularly among the younger players. And number two, you want to check out that recruiting class, see if you've had any decommitments. Right. And to their credit, as ugly as Utah and Kentucky were, they have not had any defections from that top 5 recruiting class, at least as of yet. So the Gators are 4-2. They head to South Carolina. Florida State is a perfect 5-0. They get ready to host Syracuse. Brent, I still think Florida State is very, very good. But that LSU second half in particular, to me, is the best football they've played. Maybe the fourth quarter against Clemson. They kind of messed around, right, with Virginia Tech. The game was never in doubt, but it was 22-17 in the third quarter. Do they have to be careful about maybe taking their foot off the gas a little bit in these games?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, there's still some real concern for them. Now, they're 5-0 for the first time since 2015. They've scored 30 points in 11 straight games. They finally got back to running the ball. Trey Benson had 200 yards. And Jordan Travis, to his credit, not much has been said about this, has thrown a touchdown pass in 17 straight games. That's the most since Jameis Winston back in 2013 and 14. But now they do have some challenges there coming up. And now Syracuse is not going to be one of them. But I mean, you've still got Florida, you've still got Miami, and there are games on the road. But the reality is they've got to, and they've still got to clean some stuff up. They've got to get the running game still going. They've had probably too many injuries at this point that they need to get some guys who are healthy. But frankly, all in all, I mean, they're exactly where they need to be as far as the playoff is concerned. I give them a lot of credit for that. But with that, I mean, they've got Syracuse is a win. Duke's going to be a win, particularly if Riley Leonard's not back. Wake is at Winston. They'll be a win. Pitt will be a win. And really, when you look at it, their biggest threat is still Miami. So, I mean, you're looking at, what? To me, conservatively, 11-1. And if you're 11-1 and you're in, they still probably need to win the ACC championship game. But if you do that, you are more than just in the conversation for the playoff. But do you have a concern for them like I do? That could they have a stinker in them to where they go to Pitt or Wake Forest on a snowy, dreary day where they're not motivated, have about 3 turnovers, and they're fighting for their life at the end of the fourth quarter?
I don't know anymore, Brent, because they already had that against Boston College, and they survived it. And I don't know if you have 2 of those games. The Pitt game, to me, is the one. That field will be choppy. It'll be cold up there. Certainly not in the elements Florida State likes. I think, to me, I would almost be surprised at this point, though, if Florida State's not 12-0, which is interesting in that they're on a collision course, it appears, with North Carolina. And with all due respect to Clemson, it looks like North Carolina is getting the riffraff out of their way. Florida State's getting the riffraff out of their way. And that appears to be the ACC championship game in the making. And my question at that point is, will it even matter? If Florida State's 12-0, what happens in that ACC championship game? I guess a lot of that determines on Oklahoma and what happens in the Big Ten and the Pac-12, how many more undefeated teams there are. because there's a real chance, Brent, that is a 12-0 North Carolina against a 12-0 Florida State for the ACC title.
Well, and I will still say that the committee will give them a lot of credit for beating LSU in a neutral site game. I mean, still, Jay Daniels is a Heisman Trophy candidate, and LSU, with all their troubles, still, by the end of the year, could be a top 25 team, and so very well could be Clemson. So they would get a lot of credit from those wins, I believe. But look, I mean, when they're playing well, and again, they have not been perfect all along, but they are, to me, a playoff-worthy team at this point if they can stay healthy down the line.
You know what, and shame on me, I got to mention Louisville. Louisville is still very much in the mix. I'm not sure if I believe in Louisville, but at the end of the day, they're undefeated coming off a victory over Notre Dame on national television. So Louisville could be a fly in the ointment, if you will. I assume Louisville and North Carolina play each other. I don't know that, because if they don't, you could potentially have 3 undefeated teams in the ACC, and then they would have a cluster, you-know-what, on their hands as far as the ACC championship game. But we'll see how all that plays out. Again, no more divisions there in the Atlantic Coast Conference. Making the turn for home here with Brent Beard. You see him on First Coast News. You get him also weekly right here on Hacker After Dark. All right, Brent, Georgia looked like the team last week we expected to see all season long, including Georgia, looking at the entire totality of college football right now. In mid-October, who is Brent Beard's top 4? If the 4-team playoff were to start tomorrow, who are your 4 teams that would be in it?
I would say probably, obviously Georgia would be, Michigan would be, and now again, we still wait the Ohio State game. Florida State could be 2. Now, obviously, Penn State's going to be getting with Ohio State and Michigan later on. I tell you, a team that's really good that no one's talking about, or none of people are talking about, would be Washington. So that's your reality for that. I would just say right now, Georgia, Michigan, Florida State, and I'm going to throw Washington in there with the anticipation that they could be really good. But, boy, this Pac-12 is really tremendous, too, with some huge games that are coming up.
Brent, leave us with this. You mentioned Washington. They have the game of the week coming up against Oregon. You're an Alabama guy. You watched every game of Bo Nix at Auburn. As we say goodbye, are you stunned at what you see from Bo Nix now at Oregon?
Yes. Yes, because, look, there was no way in the world that, and by the way, Louisville does not play North Carolina, which makes that interesting.
You could have 3 undefeated teams. I don't know what the ACC would do then.
Yeah, you certainly could. It is. We've got maybe heading to be into one of the most fun endings. Now, I've heard a lot of people say this, and I'll say it too. Can you imagine if we had a 12-team playoff this year?
It'd be unbelievable. Yeah, we're maybe a year too
really
early. Yeah.
But can you sense already, Hank, the interest and the excitement where that's going to go by next year? Now a lot of this is going to fare its way out. And I'll say this: speaking of Bama, are they a championship team? Probably not. But if they continue to improve and play like the way they did against A&M, particularly defensively, if they get into the SEC championship with Georgia and they beat Georgia and they've only got 1 loss, what's the committee going to do with them?
There's a lot to figure out. There's no question about it.
Isn't it?
The Pac-12 is going to figure itself out with USC with obviously the Washington-Oregon game. Again, that's the quarterback transfer portal game. Michael Penix for Washington and Bo Nix for Oregon. USC has survived a couple of games, including Arizona last week. A little bit of the luster is off of them, even though they're undefeated. A lot of these things are going to figure themselves out. The fact that Louisville doesn't play North Carolina is fascinating to me. Now, the odds of Louisville, UNC, and Florida State all running the table are probably very slim, but what if that were to happen and you have 3 12-0 teams in the ACC?
That's right.
The first year you don't have divisions. I mean, that's a nightmare scenario, I would think, for the Atlantic Coast Conference.
Well, and again, how are they going to? And I'm sure they've got a formula for that. And how deep does that formula go? But I will say this, Hack, real quick on two of these teams. Number one, it may not be this year, but Jeff Brom is going to make a real impact in that league. Brom is that good of a head coach, frankly. And the other thing is, USC's not going to the playoffs. Riley just absolutely refuses to play any defense. And now, look, when they really get into to some of these tremendous matchups that are coming up, you may see I'm being facetious, but I'm really not. Yeah, with USC, they may have to win a game 70-60 in order to do and go where they want to go.
You see Brent Beard on First Coast News. You also get him weekly right here on Hacker After Dark. Brent, should be a good Saturday of college football. Enjoy it, my friend. We'll be back next week to break it all down.
Can't wait, bud. Take care.
Share your life with 1010XL. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram.
Oh, wait. I'm going to take a picture and post it on Facebook. What? Hashtag
1010XL.
My dad has a cold, but also has high blood pressure. That's why I got him Vicks DayQuil High Blood Pressure for max strength daytime relief. Unlike some ordinary cold medicines, it's specially formulated for people like my dad. DayQuil High Blood Pressure is sugar-free, alcohol-free, and decongestant-free.
Vicks DayQuil High Blood Pressure. The daytime, non-drowsy, coughing, aching, fever, sore throat, cold, and flu for people with high blood pressure.
Like my dad.
Medicine. Use as directed.
Hey there, Jacksonville. Mike Dempsey here. So listen, I wrapped up with Awaken 180 and slid right into the free maintenance mode. After bidding adieu to 25 pounds in 5 weeks, guess what? Dropped 2 more in maintenance because my metabolism is now firing on all cylinders. 2 more pounds, even with adding foods like bread and, yes, a little ice cream back in my diet. But here's the difference. I'm not eating those things every single day, and I'm not craving foods like that all the time. With Awaken 180, it's not just about shedding that weight, which, by the way, they're phenomenally good at. It's more like they're sculpting a smarter me. But it didn't even feel like learning. They've been at this gig for 9 years, and they've helped over 20,000 clients. Their secret sauce, free support for life. If you want to lose your weight for the last time, do what I did and call the solution for weight loss, Awaken 180 Weight Loss at 844-346-1800. That's 844-346-1800 or online at awaken180weightloss.com.
If you're looking for exterior solutions that provide you reliability and durability, it's time to call Armor Guard Exteriors. Whether you need seamless gutters or gutter protection, hurricane products, impact windows, glass lanais, or retractable awnings and screens, we've got you covered. Call My Home Team today for your 5-star experience at 904-906-8669.
Armor Guard Exteriors, committed to quality, and that's a promise.
The flagship station of the Jaguars, WJXL-FM, Jacksonville Beach.
At ABBQ, they are turning up the heat this football season like no other. Picture this, 15 massive TVs strategically placed throughout the restaurant so you won't miss a single touchdown. Step into their huge outdoor area where the excitement of the game meets the fresh air. Here's the kicker, and this is a big one for me. They got the sound on blast throughout the restaurant for the whole game. Your destination for mouth-watering barbecue and an unforgettable game day. ABBQ, meet and drink with us.
Whether you are looking for a job or an employer trying to hire, there's only one stop in Jacksonville, Remedy Staffing. Labor trends keep us guessing. As employers, the job market has been strong, So what does that mean for workers' availability? If you're interested in the workforce solutions or how the Remedy team can help you, call or text Crystal at 904-329-9802. 329-9802, Remedy Staffing.
Hi, this is Dave Barker. Want to grow your hair back?
IHRS, right here in Jacksonville, is the only hair transplant clinic in the Southeast to offer multi-unit hair grafting and the 45-minute PRP treatments. Grow your hair back. Call now for a free in-person evaluation. 904-777-IHRS. 904-777-4477 or visit hairforme.com.
At Andy's Automotive and Truck Services, they know that your company's fleet represents your business, your reputation, your pride. So Andy's Automotive provides after-hours and mobile service to keep your fleet in top shape. And this month, Andy's is offering new fleet accounts a 25% discount, up to $500 off your first repair. Experience the service difference with Andy's Automotive and save money with a new fleet account. Visit their team online at andysats.com.
Make a crucial catch against colon cancer. Hicken here for the Borland Groover Foundation. If you're 45 or older, the ball is in the red zone to get screened. The key to surviving colon cancer, early detection and prevention. 45 is the new 50. Get screened for colon cancer now. The Borland Groover Foundation is a nonprofit organization devoted to building a healthy and equitable community that is free from colon cancer. Visit BorlandGrooverFoundation.com for more.
Are spooky plumbing problems haunting your home this Halloween? Don't be scared. Call Duck Duck Rooter, your ghost-busting plumbing heroes.
Hi there, I'm Brian, your friendly plumber. Is your toilet making ghostly groans? Or is your sink dripping like a vampire's fangs?
Don't let plumbing problems give you the heebie-jeebies. Call Duck Duck Rooter at 904-862-6769 and chase those spooky issues away.
Duck Duck Rooter, because even plumbing nightmares deserve a happy ending. Quacktastic service guaranteed.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jaguars, protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Let's ring up another guest on the All-Pro Roofing phone line.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville as the high school spotlight is in session. And boy, we got a big week coming up on Friday night. District games all over the place, including a couple of district championship games here in Northeast Florida. With that, let me welcome in Zach Harbison. He is the head coach of Tocoi Creek down in St. Johns County, and they got a big in-county district game on Friday night against Ponte Vedra. Coach, how you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you doing today?
Coach, we are good. Thank you for the time. And all right, you and I talk under the Friday night lights before our Tuesday night audience. We haven't really talked since the season started. First year for you down in St. Johns County at Tocoi Creek. How have things gone your first year on the job down there?
It's going well. We've had a ton of fun. We've had some really tough losses that have really shook us a little bit, but we battled back the last couple of weeks and won some of those tough games. So I think we're playing good football now. We're playing well-rounded, complete games, and we're excited for the opportunity we have this week. It's a good time to be playing our best football as we head into district play.
You know, not to bring up bad memories, but you mentioned it. I remember two games in particular. I think it was Matanzas and Bishop Kenny. And you guys were right there, right, in the fourth quarter, and just things didn't go your way. But particularly the Bishop Kenny game, when I was listening to that, and I even came in the studio that night for the post-game show, and I'm like, wow, Tocoi Creek very easily could have won that game. To people that cover the sport here locally, I don't think a lot of people are surprised that you guys have turned the corner. Certainly you're not surprised by that.
No, not at all. We went into both those games with the expectation, to win, because we practiced hard. We had a great summer, and then the things just didn't go our way at the end of the game. But give a lot of credit to our staff and our kids. After those two tough losses, we bounced back. We've had great weeks of practice, and we've pushed through. And then we got to conquer some demons against Palatka. We had another fourth quarter lead. And our defense held and then won it, and that sprung us in the last 2 weeks.
Zach Harbison is the head coach of Tocoi Creek. They got a big one Friday night against Ponte Vedra. Coach, not only your first year on the job after what you did at Englewood, you head down to St. Johns County, but lo and behold, you get the job, and then you find out that, oh, by the way, you're getting reclassified into an upper district, into the main 4S district there in St. Johns County. I mean, what was that like when you got that news prior to the season starting?
We kind of knew it was coming down eventually at some point. We had, I guess, the misguided expectation that they would give us some time, like a year to figure it out and get into a district and have district meetings. But it was a Friday. We were in Ocala for a 7-on-7 tournament. I got a call at noon from our AD saying, hey, we're in 4S now. So it is what it is. I guess they're going off our freshman enrollment is a big class. Now, none of that big class gets to really help us on Friday nights. It will eventually, but right now I think we're still playing with a hand tied behind our back. But our kids aren't nervous, they're not scared, and I think we've competed well, and we get again a great shot on Friday night against our first 4S opponent.
You know, I want to get into the game Friday night certainly, but I remember being down at Decoy Creek last year. I did a Hacker High School football tour down there when Coach K was still there, and I was blown away at not only the stadium, the beautiful practice area you guys have, the brand new weight room. I mean, you guys have everything you need, right, at Decoy Creek. There's no mistaking why in a very short amount of time this program is winning a lot of games, and you got a lot of kids out there playing football.
For sure. The community takes care of us, man, and our administration does a great job. Principal Willits and our AD, Billy Blackman, they care about athletics. They care about the kids, so they definitely aren't cutting corners. We have everything we need to succeed, and now it's on us as a coaching staff and as a group of players to continue to grind and work and get better each day and make our community proud. Obviously, we want to win on Friday night, but more importantly, we want to put a good product on them and build young men for the future.
You mentioned the FHSAA didn't do you a whole lot of favors. They scheduled all three of your district games back to back to back beginning Friday night with Ponte Vedra. What is the mindset for you guys and your team going into this 3-game stretch?
We've been talking about it all year. It's a 3-game season to end the year. So there's our bumps and bruises. We start feeling a little better, a little extra motivation. Obviously, every game matters, but these 3 are the most important. We have goals that we want to meet, and it starts with winning these 3 district games.
Zach Harbison of Decoy Creek as we begin to wrap things up here on the high school spotlight. All right, Ponte Vedra on Friday. Not only is it a St. Johns County game, not only is it a district game, obviously your kids, their kids, they know each other. You're probably very familiar with the staff over there. I mean, that's going to be a good one on Friday night. A good test for you guys and quite the atmosphere, I would imagine.
Yeah, I'm sure Ponte Vedra's community is going to show out. And I know our fans are going to travel. They're a dang good football team. They are really well coached. They seem to always be in the right spot. So anything we get on Friday night is going to have to be earned. And I believe we're up to that challenge. We're really, really excited to play an opponent of their level. You
know, for the casual high school fans listening, you go from a school like Inglewood, which clearly is not as big as where you are now, to Coy Creek. Any advantages, disadvantages to having such a bigger team, bigger classification, bigger student population?
I think the biggest thing is just our depth, right? Inglewood, we were really talented, but if guys went down in certain spots, it would kind of ruin a plan. Here, it's more next man up. Now we're still in a little bit of trouble if certain guys go down for sure, but we can practice a little harder. Our periods are a little more structured just because of the sheer number of bodies that we can put on the field on practices.
Give your quarterback a little bit of love as we wrap up here. He's quite the player.
Yeah, Ryan Kilmer has been fantastic for us. He hasn't had a ton of true game reps. He was thrown to the wolves as a freshman here. But our quarterback coach, Kevin Doling's done a great job of getting him prepared for Friday nights. In the last 2 weeks, he's really coming to his own. We had a staff meeting last night just talking about how Ryan's grown. He's becoming a true team leader. His teammates love him. And that's the biggest thing. He's worked really hard. He has confidence in himself, and his teammates trust him as well.
Zach Harbison of Decoy Creek. All right, Coach, final question. You guys, Ponte Vedra, Friday night, a district matchup, a St. Johns County matchup. Invite them out. It should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, we hope all of Decoy community comes out, shows up, and shows out for the Toros. We're really excited for the challenge.
Coach, best of luck on Friday. We hope we're talking to you under the Friday night lights.
I appreciate you. Have a great day.
Want even more excitement on game day? It's time to get it on Prize Picks, the best way to win big on fantasy sports. Here's how it works. You just pick 2 to 6 players and choose which will have the better statistical day. If you get it right, you can win up to 25 times your cash. It's quick and easy to make your picks, and with fast and safe deposits and withdrawals, Prize Picks is the place to play this season. Prize Picks has awesome weekly promotions, and they're the only daily fantasy platform with an injury insurance policy, keeping you in the game even if one of your players goes down. Sweat it out, watch your entry update in real time, and continue the fun by making picks on second half and fourth quarter stats. Take your game day experience to the next level with Prize Picks. And right now, when you go to prizepicks.com/1010XL and use code 1010XL, Prize Picks is matching your first deposit up to $100. That's prizepicks.com/1010XL with code 1010XL for a 100% deposit match. Prize Picks, daily fantasy sports made easy.
Men, if you're struggling with erectile dysfunction or PE, the medical providers at Prime Men's Medical Center offer breakthrough treatments that eliminate problems in the bedroom without pain or surgery. Listen to a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Simovitz. Prime Men's Medical Center offers the most advanced treatments to eliminate ED and PE. 98% of men experience instant results on their first office visit. They're even lasting 90 minutes or longer, regardless of age or medical history.
Don't just take our word for it. Call Prime Men's Medical Center now for our limited time offer. Your initial consultation and first treatment are completely free. You'll see instant results right in the office. You'll even get a gift that enhances your performance in the bedroom. All this, worth hundreds of dollars, is free if you call now. 904-664-8217. 904-664-8217. That's 904-664-8217.
Do you have a VA loan? In this housing market, homeowners with VA loans have access to a ton of instant cash. Hey, it's Prosser here. Do you need cash to pay off credit cards and other high-interest loans? Does a check for 80 or 90 grand sound about right now? Well, Loan Pronto is helping veterans every day get the money they need with a quick and easy zero-cost cash-out refi with zero closing costs. With a VA loan, it's really cool because you can access up to 100% of your home's value. Use that money to pay off credit cards, home equity lines, car loans, consolidate all your payments into one check per month, and close in 2 weeks. Most homeowners who do this end up cutting their overall monthly payments by $800. Loan Pronto's all-digital process makes it fast and easy. They're doing loans with super low APRs, and they love working with veterans. Call now to see what your options are. Call Loan Pronto at 999-1508. That's 904-999-1508. Or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
Follow every Gators game on 1010XL. Brought to you by Renewal by Anderson Windows and Doors, the official window and door replacement company of the Jacksonville Jaguars. And Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jaguars.
Make sure your home is protected this hurricane season by scheduling a complimentary roof inspection with Universal Roof and Contracting. Right now, get 15% off your roof replacement and repairs. Plus, 0 down, no payments, and no interest for 12 months. This offer expires October 31st and restrictions apply. Universal Roof and Contracting, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. License number CCC 1330747, CVC 1258484.
UniversalRoof.com.
Hey sports fans, it's Hayes Carline for QC Kinetics. The future of joint pain relief is here. It's QC Kinetics, advanced regenerative medicine. This is amazing stuff. If you've been told more steroids or surgery are your only options, don't be so fast. Get a second opinion and learn more about how you can harness your body's own healing agents to attack that joint pain. You've got to go see QC Kinetics. You can call to set up a free consultation at Mandarin or Ponte Vedra locations at 904-274-5522. Again, 274-5522. Imagine living your life this fall with no more pain in your knees, your hips, shoulders, back, with no drugs, no downtime, and no surgery. Look, life is about motion, and QC Kinetics is giving people their lives back with these all-natural treatments. Again, give them a call. 904-274-5522. That's QC Kinetics.
Pick it here. Zero Res turns 19 this month. To celebrate, just say happy birthday, Zero Res, and they'll give you $50 off your cleaning. Some minimums may apply, so give them a call. Happy birthday, Zero Res. Spelled forwards or backwards, it's the right way to clean.
Zero Res.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Let's ring up another guest on the All-Pro Roofing phone line.
And thank you to Zach Harbison, the head coach at Decoy Creek down there in St. Johns County. They have a big one against Ponte Vedra. There's also another big one at Baker County. It is a district championship game this week between Baker County and Yulee. And let's go to Baker County. Head coach Kevin Mays of the Baker County Wildcats. He's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Coach, how we doing?
All right. It's a nice day out today.
Yeah, look, it's a big week for you guys. And look, before we preview the district championship game, which certainly is going to be a big topic for us here, let's kind of look back on the season that's been. You had some tough losses. I know the storm there interfered with a game. But in the last couple of weeks, you guys really look like you're putting it together. That big win over Baldwin, and now that sets up a district title game on Friday night against Yulee.
Yeah, we started out tough as far as if you go back and look at the schedule now. We played a tough game against Bradford, and then we played Glenn Academy, who looks like they're really good this year as far as with only one loss, and lost that one the last second. Then we've had some turnover here with injuries and other stuff going on, and we've actually started our fourth quarterback the last two games, Hudson Register, and he's done a really good job. And I think we've kind of settled into who we are and, found the guys that we need in certain spots and appear to be hitting a pretty good stride right now.
You know, people that cover high school football, people that live in this world like you and I do, we kind of understand what you guys go through as head coaches. For the casual people listening tonight, at the end of the day, you have roughly 60 kids that are between the ages of 14 and 17, and things happen, right? You know, things out of your control as a coach, and I know you've dealt with some of that. We won't necessarily dive into all of that, but having said that, you got to deal with the attrition. You got to have other guys step up, and to you and your staff's credit, it looks like you've been able to do that.
We have. I mean, we're down from, I guess, when you started, what you would call 12 varsity players at this point for many different reasons, most of them injuries. And it's been tough kind of figuring guys out, and we've got some guys having to play both ways. But, you know, like you said, my staff has done a great job of kind of putting the puzzle together of who needs to be where. And like I said, last two games, it's worked out pretty good for us.
Kevin Mays is the head coach of Baker County. Coach, I remember that Baldwin game a couple of weeks ago. That came right down to the wire. You guys, I believe, scored with about 90 seconds to go to win that game. And that touchdown, I think your tailback broke like 6 or 7 tackles to get into the end zone. Do you think that was the turning point for you guys?
It definitely was. It definitely could have gone the other way if it didn't work out like that. I would say that. And, you know, just Benny Lewis being the guy that just his heart and effort kind of wheeled him through that. And it has kind of carried on. You know, the Vieira game, again, there were some issues before the game on that game, and we didn't play good at all. But these last 2 weeks, we've kind of got this core group of guys that have kind of said, hey, we're going to not let the outside noise interfere with us. And we played really good against West Nassau. We played good against a really good-looking Monroe team who kind of just wore down at the end. But, you know, I think that's accountable to our guys playing hard and finishing the game.
Well, let's get into Friday night, you guys and Yulee. And it's an interesting backstory. You spent time in the Central/South Florida area. Kyle Doherty of Yulee, a friend of yours, I guess, in the coaching community. You guys know each other from your time down there. You both come up to Northeast Florida, you at Baker County, he at Yulee. You played each other twice last year, once in the regular season, once in the playoffs. So there's not going to be a lot of secrets, right? I mean, you know him, he knows you. It's going to be an interesting cat and mouse game, if you will, on Friday night.
Yeah, and we're both from Brevard County, and as far as I know, and I got to know him kind of later after he had kind of got out of the high school world as far as a player and stuff. But I think he went to Merritt Island, which, you know, that's a whole different story between me and him, me being a Palm Bay High grad and him being a Merritt Island guy. But that's a different side of the story. But yeah, we've known each other. We played each other. It's going to be two different styles. We're definitely a run-based team this year, and he's got his quarterback that's playing well, and they like to throw the ball. But we played each other in 2 pretty close games last year. And it'll be exciting when they come over here on Friday night.
You know this, being the head coach of Baker County. I mean, your games are circled a lot on opposing schedules. And if you talk to folks at Yulee, quite frankly, they've made no bones about that. That they feel like in both games last year, they played well enough to win. You guys made enough plays in the fourth quarter to win both of them. Yuli's had this game circled. They're been ready for it for the entire offseason. Do you let your guys know how big a game this is, district title game, and how much Yuli's been looking forward to this one?
I don't worry, I guess, a bunch about the Yulee side of it as far as what they think about the game. I kind of keep it just in ours. But, because Baker County has been, going back to 2015, maybe there has been a good run here at Baker County. But we went back and counted the other night. There's only been 12 district championships in the history of Baker County. And that's since they've played football since 1950, 52, somewhere in there is when the high school first came about. And that's a long time with not a lot of district championships. So I sit here and tell the boys, hey, let's be number 13, be the part, we can win our 13th district championship on Friday the 13th and be ready to, put their name in the history of this place.
And you and I had this conversation last year when I came down to visit you guys. Sometimes home field advantage doesn't necessarily mean a whole lot in high school football. I don't think that's the case on Friday night. Yulee's got a great home field, but certainly you have a great home field advantage, and I think that's certainly going to help you out on Friday.
Yeah, it will be, and it'll be packed. It's obviously, how coaches think about this. It's actually our homecoming. That kind of got screwed up. It wasn't supposed to be, but when, Sun Lake and then Lake Highland Prep after that dropped us from week 11, we had to switch our schedule all around the way it worked out. It'll be crazy around here Friday night, just with homecoming festivities and then being the district championship game. It'll be a good crowd Friday night.
Coach, final question. District titles on the line. Now, having said that, there's certainly a very good chance that both you and Yulee will be in the postseason regardless, but clearly the winner of this game, if you were to see each other again, would likely have home field. I mean, it's a big, big game from that standpoint, and the fact that you said you want to call yourself a district champion. Yeah,
and it's, I got my own feelings about how the playoffs work out now, but, looking where we're at as far as making the playoffs, be it win or not win Friday, we were sitting here talking about it before. I mean, we're looking at the same thing we probably went through last year, looking at having to go through Baldwin, Yulee, and then probably Bradford again at the end of it, and having to play all those teams twice again like we did last year. It's something that you look forward to. You like playing different people, but we'll play whoever gets put in front of us and go from there.
Kevin Mays, the head coach of Baker County, a district title on the line Friday night between Yulee and Baker. It should be a good one down there at Baker County. Coach, best of luck. We hope we're talking to you under the Friday night lights.
Thank you.
Key Buick GMC receives special financing on GMC's rates as low as 0.9% for 36 months, 2.9% for 48 months, 3.9% for 60 months, and even 5.9% for 72 months. With a $2,500 Buick and GMC purchase, loyalty, in addition to $1,250 GM bonus cash. Whenever you purchase a brand new vehicle from Key, whether it's a Buick or a GMC, it always comes with a lifetime powertrain warranty. Across the street from Tinseltown, Southside and Gate.
I'm Jeff Middlecoff with Trustline Mortgage. My business partners, Alan Tyre, Bill Pappas, and Ken Rimley, have been helping clients all over Florida with their construction perm loans for 34 years. Construction perm loans are not easy to find because a lot of banks and credit unions don't understand them, and therefore they don't like to do them. Well, your problem is solved. Trustline Mortgage wants to help you build your dream home. Our construction perm loans are single close, so you save money by not having to close twice, like with other lenders. Some of our construction perm loans allow you to lock in your interest rate up front. And if interest rates go down, we'll give you the better rate. We offer up to 100% VA loans, up to 96.5% for FHA loans, and up to 95% for conventional loans. Call Trustline Mortgage today at 381-LOAN. That's 381-LOAN to find out how we can help you build your dream home. Or visit our website at trustlinemortgage.com. Trust your instincts and follow the line to Trustline Mortgage.
Certain restrictions apply. See office for details. Trustline is an equal housing lender. MLS number 331480.
Hi, this is Dave Barker. Multi-unit hair grafting is now available at IHRS and can give you 3 times more hair in one procedure over a traditional hair transplant.
Multi-unit hair grafting gave me more hair in one procedure and within my budget.
You can grow your hair back with this exclusive new procedure. Call for a free evaluation. Call IHRS 904-777-IHRS 777-IHRS 777-4477.
The YMCA provides after-school care programs for kindergartners through middle school at over 40 sites across the First Coast. Our programs focus on safety, health, social and emotional growth, and academic enhancement. At the Y, your child can build self-reliance, get help with schoolwork, explore new talents, and develop healthy relationships with others, all in a safe, nurturing environment. Plus, financial assistance is available. Learn more at fcymca.org.
Hey, it's Mike Dempsey, and you know how I feel about Pella Windows and Doors. Great design, strongest warranties, and the highest quality product. I even chose Pella Windows for my own home. And whether you're a homeowner replacing windows or building a new home or a trade professional working with clients, I know the design experts at Pella will help your project run smoothly and look great. Visit PellaJacks.com or the Pella showroom on Phillips Highway. That's Pella Windows and Doors.
Make a crucial catch against colon cancer. Hicken here for the Borland Groover Foundation. If you're 45 or older, the ball is in the red zone to get screened. The key to surviving colon cancer, early detection and prevention. 45 is the new 50. Get screened for colon cancer now. The Borland Groover Foundation is a nonprofit organization devoted to building a healthy and equitable community that is free from colon cancer. Visit BorlandGrooverFoundation.com for more.
Hey there, Jacksonville. Mike Dempsey here. So listen, I wrapped up with Awaken 180 and slid right into the free maintenance mode. After bidding adieu to 25 pounds in 5 weeks, guess what? Dropped 2 more in maintenance because my metabolism is now firing on all cylinders. 2 more pounds, even with adding foods like bread and, yes, a little ice cream back in my diet. But here's the difference. I'm not eating those things every single day, and I'm not craving foods like that all the time. With Awaken 180, it's not just about shedding that weight, which, by the way, they're phenomenally good at. It's more like they're sculpting a smarter me. But it didn't even feel like learning. They've been at this gig for 9 years, and they've helped over 20,000 clients. Their secret sauce? Free support for life. If you want to lose your weight for the last time, do what I did and call the solution for weight loss, Awaken 180 Weight Loss at 844-346-1800. That's 844-346-1800 or online at awaken180weightloss.com.
Even as prices seem higher on almost everything lately, you can count on Famous Quick Lube to still have the best price in town on quick oil change service. Visit any of their 13 locations, including the new shop on San Jose and now in Jax Beach. The Famous team will have your oil changed, tires rotated, and fluids topped off before you can finish your coffee. For fast, friendly service, personal VIP attention, and the best price in town, go to Famous Quick Lube, servicing every customer like they're famous.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jaguars, protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555, Jacksonville. Let's ring up another guest on the All-Pro Roofing phone line.
And the high school spotlight rolls on. 1010XL and 92.5 FM. We are glad you are with us. The middle part of October means district matchups all over the place and playoff positioning certainly getting ratcheted up. With that, let me welcome in my friend Justin Barney of Channel 4. He's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Justin, how you doing?
Not too bad, Hack. How are you doing?
Hey, Justin, we're good, man. Thank you for the time. Before we look ahead, let's look back. A couple of games really stood out last week. How about the effort from Middleburg? Down 33-7 to an in-county rival in the Clay Blue Devils, and the Broncos come all the way back for a 35-33 win. Justin, you don't see a whole lot of 26-point comebacks in high school football.
Yeah, huge win for Ryan Wolf and the Broncos in a Clay County showdown as well. I mean, anytime you play that county rivalry game, that is a big one. And then kind of, for bragging rights and, kind of just what you live for, to see those kids, and teammates used to play with in youth football and stuff. And Clay had been riding a hot streak. Hot start for the Blue Devils at Kyle Kennard, and the Broncos turning back 35-33. What a comeback. And you hope for Middleburg. That kind of launches them into the second half of the season on a positive note. They got a tough one against Columbia. But Clay County bragging rights for sure. Back-to-back games, you beat Ridgeview in 1 week and then Clay the other. So 2 big Clay County wins right back in a row for Middleburg, and you got to feel good about that.
You know, the interesting thing for Middleburg, and we talked to Ryan Wolf about this last week here on 1010XL, it's 2 years in a row, right? They have a gauntlet to begin the year. They start 0-3, and I guess that toughens them up because after that awful start in both years, they've really turned things around.
Yeah, and you gotta hope that carries over to the second half of the season. Again, you're playing good teams right out of the gate. Hawthorne, Bradford, Ponte Vedra. I mean, that's a brutal start. And you kind of get back together. Ribault, Ridgeview, Clay, and really a similar blueprint last year. And you stack those wins after that tough start, and you're hoping to do the same this year. They got a pretty tough finish with Columbia and Bishop Kenny right after that win over Clay.
Justin Barney of Channel 4. I'll tell you another stat that you don't see a whole lot. 3 wins by a combined 4 points, and that's what I believe Raines has done over the last 3 weeks. Ocala, Trinity Catholic, Riverside, and last week First Coast. Justin, they've won 3 games by a combined 4 points, man. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy, and they've not scored more than 27 in a game all season. They got a little bit of a scare last week from First Coast. Big one on Saturday, the Northwest Classic against Ribault. But if you're Donovan Maslin and you're seeing the Vikings, you like to see the performances in these games, and you know you can win those games when it's tight and one possession can swing things late in the game, and you like to be in those types of games. I think you learn a lot more from yourself in a game like you saw against First Coast last week than you do in a game when you're beating the team 35-0. So games like that toughen up those kids. It shows them that they can win in those tight situations. And I think if you're Donovan Maslin, games like that really boost you and help you for the playoffs.
Justin, let's look back on one more game before we look ahead to this week. And this week has a ton of really good games. And that was Yulee over Baldwin, which sets up a district title game this Friday against Baker County, which we'll get to in a moment. But Yulee lost both Baldwin and Baker last year by a combined 4 points. They get revenge on one of them last week, a big win over Baldwin that sets up a district title game this week against Baker County.
Yeah, and you had a big one against Fernandina Beach, a big Nassau County showdown the week before that Baldwin win, and that was a big one for Coach Kyle Dougherty and the Hornets. You're in these dogfight games. I mean, you beat Baldwin 12-7. You're in these slugfests, and Baker County's been playing games like that too, where there's these physical, tough games, and they're tight games. They played Bradford tight in week 1. They lost 12-0 in that game. So you've got a defense that's built to win these tough physical games. Yulee did it last week against Baldwin. We'll see if the Hornets can do it against Baker County, but that's a de facto district championship game on Friday night in Glenny.
Justin Barney of Channel 4. All right, let's add a little more time because there's a lot of games to get to this Friday night. Let's begin with Yulee and Baker County. The interesting thing about this one, Justin, like you said, a de facto district championship game. This also is a big game to try to avoid Bradford as long as possible. Everybody in that region is trying to get to either the 2 or 3 line to basically avoid Bradford County, right, until at least the regional final there. What's your thought on Yulee and Baker County?
Yeah, I think that's gonna be a tight game. I mean, Yulee's got a good passing quarterback now, Nico Smith, been able to run the ball well too. Tiante Artis Croxton carrying that ball, and Baker County is Baker County. I mean, year after year with Kevin Mays in charge, they've had these big time running backs, and they've had a really good defense. So they are built to win these slugfest games, and I think we're gonna see that on Friday night at Memorial Stadium. I think it's gonna be a slugfest. It's gonna be down to the wire. Another one of these maybe 14-10 games. Something like that. But yeah, you want to stay out of that, the Bradford warpath for as long as possible. So maybe see them in the regional final and hope things go your way, but you try to avoid them as long as possible. If you have to see them in the third round of the playoffs, that's the soonest you want to see them.
I'll tell you a good one on paper, too, is the game in St. Johns County between Tocoi Creek and Ponte Vedra. First on Ponte Vedra, and shame on me, when I talk about St. Johns County, it always starts with St. Augustine, then we get to Bartram and Creekside, and we'll get there in a moment. Ponte Vedra has lost 1 game this year by a field goal to Bartram. They've beat everybody else. They had a running clock last week on Bishop Kenny. I was shocked by that, and now they have a big in-county district game against Tocoi Creek. What's your thought on Ponte Vedra this year?
Yeah, they're doing well. I mean, when you got a good offensive line, you got Jake and Eric kind of anchoring things down there. A very good quarterback in Ben Burke. Brian Case has been running the ball strong. A big tight end, Landon Akla. You got all these pieces in place, and it starts on offense. And you got every ingredient there. Experienced offensive line. You're seeing that pay off with the good passing games from Ben Burke, the Brian Case running game, and the beat a Bishop Kenny team in a running clock game 55-20. That was a 32-31 game last year. Steve Price is getting it done, and he's got all the ingredients there. And I'm not even sure if they played Bartram now that they wouldn't beat Bartram Trail. That's how good Ponte Vedra has become. And, that Tucoy Creek game is going to be a good one. But I think Ponte Vedra is maybe one of the top 3 teams in our area this season. And you're going to maybe see a Ponte Vedra Bartram rematch in the playoffs. It's really good what Steve Price has built down there. And a lot of seniors on that team, but this team has a lot of underclassmen too. They're going to be good this year and beyond.
We had Zach Harbison on earlier, the head coach at Tucoy Creek. They got kind of a bad deal, I think. He wouldn't come out and say as much, but when you're placed into a district like 6 weeks before the season starts because of your student population, and oh, by the way, because it's so late, we're going to give you a district game, back to back here in mid to late October. I mean, that's tough, right? Tucoy Creek's got a tough putt over the next 3 weeks.
Yeah, they do, and it just kind of happens with the growth, the area that you're in out there. This is their 3rd season, and they're doing something well out there. Zach Harbison turned things around and had a good little stretch at Inglewood before going to Tucoy Creek. But you're ending your season with Ponte Vedra, Flagler Palm Coast, and then at Nice. And that Nice game last year kept them out of the playoffs. So Week 11 changed everything for Tucoy Creek. You hope to be in a different position this year come Week 11, but man, they have got a tough finishing stretch, especially when you were expecting to play down there in 2S, the 2S classification. And now, oh, by the way, you're in 4S, and you got to play this gauntlet to end the season. So will be a tough one starting on Friday night, but they're building something good down there with Coach Zachary Harbison.
Tucoy Creek is one, and then Beachside is another. You and I don't talk about Beachside a whole lot. I find myself talking to Coach Pete Duffy every Friday night now. Beachside, all of a sudden, is performing very, very well for such a young program.
Yeah, really. I mean, they've had an offense, and they did well. Their first season was last year, and this is your first senior class this year, and they've got a chance to finish this season with 9 wins. I think there's a very good chance that they finish this year 9-1, and that would be a remarkable turnaround for them in just year 2. And maybe next year you think about getting in district play and seeing how all the cards on the table feel. And but man, what an offense! What a season in year 2. And Pete Duffy, again, kind of like some other coaches down there in St. Johns County. I mean, 2nd year for Steve Price at Ponte Vedra, 2nd year for Pete Duffy at Beachside, and those young coaches getting things done. And I would not be surprised to see a Beachside team make the playoffs next season when they're in a district.
Couple of more for Justin Barney of Channel 4. All right, Justin, there's 3 other games I want to get to. Let's begin in St. Johns County. Creekside and Bartram Trail, 2 of probably the best, 5 public school programs here in Northeast Florida. Not only in-county bragging rights in St. Johns County, but a huge district game, and in Creekside's case, maybe a must-win situation.
Yeah, you're talking already a loss for Creekside and District of Buchholz, and there's no sugarcoating what Buchholz is. I think they're the best team in that region 1-4S. And Bartram has just dominated this series. First game played in 2008. They played 16 times. Creekside has won 1 of those, and that was in 2014, and that was when Creekside had a bad football team. And they beat Bartram. They went on the road and beat Bartram and actually snuck into the playoffs via that victory. And I think Creekside ended up to like 2-8 that year or 3-7. But again, you beat Bartram for the first and only time to get in the playoffs. Last year, 2 games they played, Bartram 59-27, Bartram 42-15. They were blowouts last year, and last year was arguably the best season in Creekside history. So Big Brother in the series has always controlled it. There really haven't been a ton of close games, except for you look at a 20-21 game when it was 16-13 and 50-40, but not an extreme amount of close games in this series. We'll see if this changes anything. Both those teams really, really good on offense, and I think there have been some defensive questions, but expect a shootout on Friday night.
And maybe I'm overthinking this. Creekside had a bye week last week. Bartram played IMG Academy. So from that standpoint, you would think Creekside would be the more rested team coming in here.
Yeah, and the flip side of that too is Bartram just saw a team that resembles some college teams, and you're not going to see a better high school team than IMG. I mean, IMG is the best program in the state, one of the best, if not the best, in the entire country. Bartram hung with them for a half last week. It was 14-6 at half, and again, Bartram has played teams that are giants this year. They've got 3 losses. All those three teams, IMG, Mainland, and St. Augustine, remain undefeated in week 8. So Bartram is not taking the back roads to some of these games. They're playing giants, and you've seen that with some of those losses. But I expect a good one on Friday. Creekside has played some good teams as well. They have that win over Mandarin, which kind of got them on the board to turning this thing around. So both teams 3-3. Those 3-3 records are deceptive, but expect an excellent showdown in game number 17 between Creekside and Bartram Trail.
Final moments with Justin Barney of Channel 4. Justin, that brings us to Trinity Christian and University Christian. I can tell you, talking to the Trinity guys, and I'm sure you've had this message as well, they've kind of had this one circled, right? After the playoff loss last year, University Christian, somebody had to pay last week after their loss to Providence. It was NFEI. So UC probably feeling a little better this week than they were last week, but clearly 2 of the best teams in the area going at it on Friday.
Yeah, and if you're Trinity and UC, I mean, this is a different year for both of these teams. Trinity Christian already 3 losses, UC 2 losses, including that upset loss to Providence, which really shook up this district. And I think there is a real chance if one of these teams does not win the district, there is a possibility that they could miss the postseason, which is just unbelievable. So a huge game. These teams split last year. UC lost in the regular season to Trinity. UC won in the playoffs to reach the state semifinals against Trinity last year. So this is a huge game. It's always a huge game between these teams, but Fridays carries a little bit more significance because just of those losses earlier in the season that both of these guys have endured.
Surprised Riverside got Trinity Christian last week?
A little bit surprised. I picked Trinity in that game, but Trinity's offense has just not been, for whatever reason. I think injuries and offensive line issues have really just kind of kept it down a little bit this season. They have not really hit that peak point on offense yet. I think they're still kind of scrambling and searching and trying to put things together, but they better get it figured out quickly because you gotta win this district. I still think Trinity's probably the favorite in this district. They got a big game against Providence on October 27th, which unless Trinity loses on Friday night, that'll be for the district championship. So with the addition of Providence to the district mix with that upset win over UC, this UC Trinity game takes on a little bit more importance if that's possible.
You talk about your picks. I thought it was funny last week. I hear this probably once a week, how Justin Barney motivated certain teams. Apparently you motivated Fletcher a couple weeks ago. Seatric was talking to us on the post-game show. You made some comment about their offense, and he singled you out as the motivating factor as for Fletcher turning their season around. So you got that on your mantle, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I do. It's I've been doing these picks for years, and I remember several years ago in the playoffs, I picked Trinity Christian to win over a team, and the team found the pick online and had it posted on T-shirts and handed out at the game. So it goes back a few years, and it's all done in good humor and good faith. But I hear that pretty much each week that it's bulletin board material for some teams, and that's good.
Final high school game. I want to end with the Jaguars. Justin, it's a bucket list item, man, right? When Raines and Ribault get together, the Northwest Classic should be fun on Saturday.
Awesome game, and you've got Friday night football with some headliners on Friday. You've got a Saturday afternoon game, the biggest rivalry in the area, the Northwest Classic, which is at First Coast this year, and not at the home schools. Ribault's getting its fields and school campuses up-touched this year and renovated, so that's at First Coast on Saturday at 2, and then the Jaguars back home on Sunday. So you got 3 exciting days of high school football, some college football, and then the Jags back at home trying to stretch that winning streak to 3 games.
Speaking of the Jags, let's end there. Gardner Minshew makes his return to Jacksonville. The Minshew mania, the madness returns. And, by the way, it's all of a sudden a battle for first place in the AFC South.
Yeah, really, it's cool how things have worked out. You got to hope that Jacksonville, last year London was such a kind of a fulcrum for Trevor Lawrence to getting things turned around for that second half of the season. I think this road trip for them to London just came at the perfect time this year. You got to hope that it kind of springboards this offense into bigger things, even though there's some injuries on the offensive line and stuff. But you got to hope that this is a trip when they return home that they're focused and rested after 2 weeks in London and can beat the Colts. And Colts haven't won here, and it feels like a lifetime, Hacker. So I think even with Gardner Minshew and the magic he's capable of, I think Jacksonville takes that step and seizes first place in the AFC South on Sunday.
Justin Barney of Channel 4. Good games Friday night. We're certainly looking forward to it. Justin, thank you, my friend. We'll do it again next week.
Take care, Hack. Thanks for having me.
Now, today's takeaways, brought to you by Key Buick GMC, where our family dealership has been helping families buy vehicles for over 50 years.
And thank you to Justin Barney of Channel 4 for joining us tonight here on the High School Spotlight. My 3 takeaways of the night here on Hacker After Dark. Well, certainly number 1 is it's back to work for the Jaguars. They're back in town tomorrow. I'll be down in the locker room, a battle for first place in the AFC South with the Indianapolis Colts and Gardner Minshew coming in. I'll be curious to get a vibe in the Jaguar locker room, how they're doing, getting recalibrated, right, as Mario Cristobal would say, back to the Eastern time zone and having to get ready for a very interesting stretch. Keep in mind, Indianapolis on Sunday, at New Orleans the following Thursday, right? The Jaguars will play 2 games in 4 days. So there is a lot of football approaching for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Another takeaway is in the college game, right? We talked to Brent Beard earlier. You see him on First Coast News. You get him weekly right here on Hacker After Dark. At the midway point, Florida at 4-2, the Dogs undefeated at 6-0, Florida State at 5-0, and Miami coming off just one of the worst losses you can imagine in the way it went down. So clearly Georgia and Florida State, right where they thought they would be, right where they expected to be. Miami could have said that before one of the biggest coaching blunders I've ever seen in college football. And the Gators at 4-2, honestly, I think most Gator fans probably would have taken that after 6 games coming in to the season. And the final takeaway is Friday night high school football, as we discussed here on the High School Spotlight. Maybe the best Friday night of the year, right? Yulee, Baker County for a district championship. Just an enormous game between Trinity Christian, University Christian. Huge game, or games in St. Johns County, right? Ponte Vedra, Tocoi Creek, Creekside, Bartram Trail. You have the Northwest Classic with Rains and Ribault on Saturday. Probably the best week of high school football is coming up this weekend. Well, that'll just about do it for what is always a very busy Tuesday night, our late night show here on Hacker After Dark. We certainly appreciate you guys staying up late with us. We got a ton of people to thank. The High School Spotlight tonight, thank you to Justin Barney of Channel 4. Thank you to Baker County head coach Kevin Mays as they get ready for a district championship game against Yulee on Friday night. And thank you to Tocoi Creek head coach Zach Harbison as they get ready for a big in-county district matchup on Friday night against Ponte Vedra. So the High School Spotlight every Tuesday here on Hacker After Dark. Thank you to my friend Jamal St. Cyr of Channel 4 for stopping by, talking a little Jaguars and Colts coming up on Sunday. And as always, thank you to my friend Brent Beard. You see him on First Coast News. You get him weekly right here on Hacker After Dark. We'll be back tomorrow night on a Wednesday. I'll be down in the Jaguar locker room tomorrow, and we'll bring you conversations out of the locker room tomorrow night on Hacker After Dark. Dylan Denmark was your producer tonight. Dylan, great job as always. I'm the Hacker Ryan Green. And again, Jacksonville, thank you for staying up late with us on a Tuesday right here on Hacker After Dark on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM. So for all of us here on HAD, have an absolutely terrific remainder of your Tuesday night, and we will do it all over again on a Wednesday beginning at 8 o'clock. Until then, good night, Jacksonville.
Picture this. It's a dark and stormy night, and your toilet is acting possessed. But fear not, for Duck Duck Rooter is here to exorcise those plumbing